Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be watching this or listening to this in the world. Welcome to Vacant Wrestling, because on Sundays, we talk wrestling.
You're damn right we talk about wrestling.
Obviously, my name
Damn right.
is Yusuf Rashid, or Rushed, however you want to call it. I don't really care anymore. Flanked by our usual host, the man of the hour, the man of the show, Mr. Tyler Norton.
That is me. That is, in fact, my name. What's
And
going on, y'all?
Tim's not here.
Tim had a very interesting morning, for sure. But y'all, just a quick update. Thank y'all so much, because like this shit has been growing like crazy. YouTube, we are above 200 subscribers now, so that is crazy. TikTok, we recently hit 100 followers over on TikTok, and now we're at 112 on TikTok. I think last week we had already hit the 100 threshold, so that's still really cool. And then on YouTube, we're at the 200 mark. So absolutely surreal. The past few days, I've been doing a lot of reactions. This past week, I did Raw, NXT, SmackDown. Posted a bunch of highlights of that. So we ran into a little issue at first with getting through the algorithm, but I think we made it through, and I couldn't thank you all enough. So thanks so much. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for being here. And if you're listening to the podcast or watching the podcast and you're like, what is this guy fucking talking about? You can go follow us right now on YouTube at Vacant Wrestling, and you can follow us on TikTok as well at Vacant Wrestling there. And you can see our faces if you're listening. You can see all of this in truncated little clips. You can see my live reactions to Raw, NXT, SmackDown. Who knows if I'm going to bring back Raw and SmackDown YouTube video reviews? We may. I would like to. I want to get back more into like the long form YouTube content, but we'll see where that goes. So that is the state of VWP as we know it. Thank y'all so much for being with us. It's been an awesome summer, and I don't see us stopping. Personally, I don't. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So thanks. Big week this week, huh?
Yeah, all things considered. I mean, with the fallout from SummerSlam and how good Raw was,
in trades and returns,
that whole thing is still a bit of a head scratcher.
Agreed.
You know? But
Agreed.
no, it's been a big week. Some big debuts. A lot of very interesting things moving forward.
Yeah.
Because I think this is now where, you know, we've talked about this numerous times, but the period between SummerSlam and Survivor Series, or even SummerSlam and the Rumble, to me is like the sort of lull period. It's like the big what if period. You know, this is where things start to get set up, but we don't exactly know what the build up is going to be.
Yeah, no, seriously. And not only that, I think they're really pulling out all the stops to make things more interesting. They've been having these trades between Raw and SmackDown. We had this week on Raw, Adam Pearce made an announcement, you know, in like a backstage segment, just saying like, you know, we made a deal with Nick Aldis over in SmackDown, and we're gonna get a couple of his guys here, and we're gonna send a couple of our guys there for a bit. Not formal trade, like permanent, but it seems like it's just gonna be for this, you know, this kind of, I won't say purgatory because it really doesn't feel that way, but this in-between period between SummerSlam and Survivor Series, which is really, really cool. And I think it's gonna play into some major storylines. So to kick off Raw this week, the new World Heavyweight Champion, Gunther, came out, introduced by Ludwig Kaiser, who was back, which is great to see him. I know he was injured, so he's back on TV, which is awesome. We love that for him. Good to see him back. Hopefully we can see him in the mix very soon, back in that feud with Sheamus that was unfinished. But yeah, he introduces Gunther. Gunther comes out. He's running down the company, the crowd, the people, the you know, the roster in general. If you want to come get it, type of deal. And who interrupts? Randy Orton from SmackDown. This is the first like big trade move that we got to see out of this. Obviously, Gunther and Orton were the King of the Ring finalists. Gunther won King of the Ring in a very dodgy situation. So that felt very inconclusive, but Gunther got the win there, and they stuck to their guns with Gunther winning, even though Orton's shoulder was up. And they said that they would run it back, and it sounds, and I mean, not only does it sound like, it's actually happening. We will be running back Gunther versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship at Bash in Berlin, which is huge. And it's kind of intriguing for Orton, because in the off chance that he were to actually win, He'd be winning this title for the first time. He's never held this World Heavyweight Championship technically, because this is a brand new lineage for this new World Heavyweight title, the new big gold. So, very interesting stuff. What you thinking, man? You excited?
There we go. Oops, mics. As a match, yeah. Really excited. I really enjoyed their match at King of the Ring. Minus that finish. Obviously, that's still a little wonky to this day. But having a guy like Randy Orton and a guy like Gunther, who are both technicians of the ring in very different ways, will be very exciting. Randy is all like, you got to give him credit where credit is due. He is very good in the ring. He's very good at pantomime. You know what I'm good? He's very good at pandering to the crowd. Like, that's his whole, like, with the way he sets up an RKO, with the way he sets up his rope hang DDT, his follow, his power slam, you know, like all that, right? Like, he's very good at how he panders to a crowd. Gunther's the opposite. Gunther doesn't really pander to the crowd, but Gunther's a monster in that ring, right? So it's going to be an exciting match. I was thinking about this as you were talking about it, because according to any Wikipedia or anything like that right now, Randy Orton is still technically a member of SmackDown. So this swap thing, I don't know if Randy's part of it, but I feel like this is the idea of, like, you know, Randy's trying to move over because he's like, well, I'm not going to be able to get a shot at Cody anytime soon, because he's sneaky like that, right? So he's like, well, I'm going to go after the next best thing, which is Gunther and the world title. And to be fair, they do have history right now, so it makes sense. Plus, I just thought of the idea of world champion Randy versus world champion Cody at, like, Survivor Series. I was like, oh, that could be fun. It's a damn shame he's not winning that title, though.
That's true. I will say, I think this trading isn't like permanent roster swaps. I think it's just like temporary. So
I think they're just like, small swaps.
Yeah, like borrowing more or less.
Yeah.
Because I think what they're gonna do, right? Because you have Orton coming over to Raw to feud with Gunther for the world title right now for this month of time.
Mm-hmm.
This week SmackDown didn't really have any people jump over from Raw, and I think they're saving it for this Bloodline versus Bloodline feud. I think that Roman is going to, as we saw this week on SmackDown, and we'll get a little more into it, he confronted the Bloodline, the new Bloodline, tried to get the Ulafala back. He failed to do so. The numbers overcame. And I think it's going to be a slower build, but over the next few weeks, we're going to see Jimmy come back and help Roman. It's still not going to be enough. And they're going to need 2 more guys. And who are 2 more guys that are associated with the Bloodline happen to be stuck on Raw? That would be Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, who have been teaming recently, and potentially will be getting a tag title shot against JD McDonough and Finn Balor. And I think that was announced, if I'm not mistaken. That was announced for this coming Raw. So I think the borrowing is going to be Randy Orton and maybe somebody else coming to Raw down the line. For an exchange, Sami Zayn and Jey Uso going to SmackDown to be a part of this Bloodline feud up until Survivor Series. Maybe it's like a permanent. Maybe it's like a maybe they're like dedicated roster members of where they go until Survivor Series, and then after that they're done. Or maybe it's just like they'll be on Raw this week and then SmackDown next week, and then stuff like that. But I think that Gunther and Orton wrestling, back to that subject, for the world title will lead into Randy Orton's heel turn. I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on that heel turn just yet, but I think that they will be. I think that's going to be a big part of it. I'm super excited, though. Gunther's obviously going to win, and I'm excited to see what happens with both guys after that, because this is kind of an interesting time for Gunther as champion. It's his first defense, and it's against somebody that's not really on the Raw roster. Now, after this is like the actual time of like Gunther could realistically lose the title, I think, because I don't see Orton losing or winning the title, especially not in Berlin. And that entrance when Gunther comes out as champion in Berlin is going to be absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to see the vibes in the room when Gunther comes in, man. But that's the beginning of Raw.
Yeah, I think just finishing this point, it's going to be really exciting when the match happens. And again, Gunther's not losing. Like, I'm fully of the belief that Gunther's not losing this title until Mania. Fully, I know there's the Scott and the guy and the chipmunk man guy, but like, you know, I I don't think Gunther's losing this title for a while, and I think Randy's just gonna be. It's gonna be a good match, but it's gonna be first of what will be very akin to his IC title reign of like just a string of really good matches. And yeah, that entrance at Berlin's gonna be good.
Yo, I'm so excited to see how that looks and how that sounds and how the crowd's gonna behave. I don't.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm intrigued that they put him with Orton because Orton's such a big face right now. I feel like it's hard to boo him.
Yeah. But
I feel like the Germany crowd might not want to boo Randy Orton.
Right.
But with Gunther, they might have to boo Randy Orton, and that's so interesting to see. Maybe that's a way to test out this heel run.
I guess so. Yeah.
Who knows?
Because like how else are you gonna do it? But
Right.
Carrying on Raw though.
Yeah, we got another story on Raw. Big story.
Got a lot of stories.
So Gunther won the World Heavyweight Championship because of Damian Priest getting turned on by Finn Balor. And it turned out Finn Balor kicked out Damian Priest from the Judgment Day. As did Dominic Mysterio kicked out Rhea Ripley from the Judgment Day and brought Liv Morgan in. And so there was a whole promo where Damian Priest calls out Finn Balor and he's angry, and it was a great promo from Priest. It really put him over as like he's really starting to come into his own. Like now, he especially, like I say it every week, with more and each week of television, the more mic time he has, the more I'm starting to see this individual identity for Damian Priest coming through, and it's really great to see. So he comes out and he's basically saying, like, he's basically calling out Finn. He wants to kick his ass. Come get this beating. And Finn comes on the screen on the Titantron, and he's like, I'm not gonna fight you. You're beneath me, basically, which is fucking perfect from Finn Balor. Finn is also going to benefit from this, and I'm so excited. And then he reveals that he's not alone in his fight against Damian Priest. And the camera pans out, and he's surrounded by Carlito, by JD McDonough, by Dominic Mysterio, and by Liv Morgan. So the Judgment Day lives on. This faction will not die.
No, I was so number one, interesting way to split off Damian and Rhea in that way, right? And both in title matches, which you find interesting, right? The second thing, and this was from a comment we got on TikTok regarding the way the Judgment Day is like split up and not split up, because now they're still a thing, but just with new leadership and whatnot. And I spent like 10 minutes trying to find my hoodie, and I couldn't, and I'm really bummed about it. But this is starting to become Bullet Club. Like, you get the guns up. This is starting to smell a little gunpowdery.
Starting to smell the sulfur.
A little. Well,
the
only difference is like they didn't attack their former like leaders, quote unquote. Yeah, because that was kind of like Finn Balor knows this firsthand. Right, that's the OG Bullet Club way. You kick out the old leader by beating the crap out of him.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting too is like this puts Finn back in charge. This isn't the first time Finn was supposed to be in charge. Mm-hmm. If you harken back to when Finn joined the Judgment Day and they kicked out Edge, Edge was supposed to bring Finn in, and Finn was ready to join. And then the three of them, Finn, Rhea, and Damian, attacked Edge and kicked him out. And it looked like Finn was supposed to be the leader at that point. But then they kind of pivoted and they were like, everyone's equal. And then Rhea and Damian started taking more of a leadership role. And I think that's really the motivation behind it, is that Finn was frustrated with the fact that Rhea and Damian were taking the spotlight, taking the power, taking the authority away from Finn Balor, when initially that was supposed to be Finn in that position. And so now Finn had orchestrated a plan to take out both of them and turn on both of them to basically keep him in charge, basically keep him still at the helm and put him back in charge at the helm. And I think that was awesome. I think that Finn has struggled on his own since the initial babyface run and the Universal Championship win and getting injured. And since that injury, he's really struggled to be on his own, I think. So I think having the Judgment Day around him while making him the focal point will be really, really great for him. I think that we're going to see some really big character growth. And actually, I will stand corrected. The NXT run that he had as a heel, Prince Balor in NXT.
That was a great run.
That was a really great run.
That
so
was a
I stand
really
corrected
great run,
there.
yeah.
But on the main roster, I will say he has struggled on his own as an individual.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with Finn Balor is, I mean, like, kayfabe aside, yeah, I understand why he would be angry that he's not in charge of the Judgment Day after they kicked Edge out, because he's kind of the only one with, like, proper leadership experience of, like, a faction. That faction being legitimately
Which one, Yusuf? Which paragon of virtue is that?
Oh, Bullet Club, obviously. Duh. Like, the paragon of virtue. And, like, you know, he led them he was leading Bullet Club at a time where they were still young and, like, well, he founded Bullet Club, right? But, yeah, they were young and everything and that, but he knew how to lead. So, I'm very curious to see how this Judgment Day is going to roll. And to your point about he hasn't been able to really do well on his own, yeah, that injury after the Universal title match, I think, definitely derailed him a lot. And it's crazy how we're still seeing the effects of that from a story perspective.
We're going on almost a decade since. Think about it.
What year was that? 2017?
I'm pretty sure that was 2017.
Oh my god.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
What SummerSlam was that?
I
remember it was at a SummerSlam.
I apologize about the clicky keyboard, everybody.
Clickety clickety.
I like that. Oh wait. Yeah. Wait. No, 2016 maybe. That might have been 2016.
Was the Universal title
2017 was
introduced
Demon and Bray. Yes,
Was
2016. That was SummerSlam 2016.
That was almost 10. Well, yeah,
That was
8 years.
before I was in college.
Yeah, that was.
That was the summer before I got to college.
That was my first summer. Yeah. Huh.
In college.
In college, yeah.
Damn. Man.
We're okay.
So almost a decade. It's been 8
almost
years.
a decade, 8 years
and we're
now,
still
but
feeling it.
It's crazy to think, but you know, I love the way they introduced the new Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing's changed. There's no name change. It's just member change.
Yo,
and the way they did it, I was like,
the shot
ooh.
when they panned it out and each of them had their own little move that they were
yeah,
just Carlito tossing
like,
the apple.
I kind of like that.
It felt almost like a video game. Like it felt like a video game character select screen, like Mortal Kombat. Like when they show the load screen before they fight, it's like everybody doing the moving
anime, moving graphic or something.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be cool. Also, unrelated but related to Balor and JD McDonough, they've announced that they're going to be appearing at OTT, Over the Top Wrestling, which I think is going to be really fun.
Yeah, that's like their local Irish indie fed, right?
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, good for them. With the titles, too, hopefully.
With the titles, I'd assume, yeah.
I think that'd be so cool for them.
Yeah, I at some point am expecting... Hear me out. I am expecting at some point a new Judgment Day versus new Bloodline.
I could be down.
Of some kind. Because,
I could be down.
It's only been a few days. Like, it literally, like, this is just fresh with the Judgment Day breakup / retooling / whatever you want to call it. But you're already seeing a much grittier Judgment Day.
Yep.
Right?
You know what this Judgment Day gives me vibes of? Remember back when they had Finn Balor versus Edge in an I Quit match?
Yep.
And Rhea and Damian interfered, and it made them seem like just genuine scumbags. Like it like criminal, like gang type stuff. Like like they had the finish I remember so well, and like they had Beth in a move where they had Beth like held back and they were about to hit her with a chair or something like that, and they goaded Edge to say I quit. And they're like, all right. Psych!
Yeah, they're like, okay, whatever. Anyway. Still hit her, yeah.
I was like, God damn, dude. That was the first time that I was like, damn, this new Judgment Day fucks. This is great. And then they kind of fell off again for a while. But yeah, man, that's what I agree. That's what that brought me to, is that moment. Yeah. And I think the main reason is that Finn was at the helm at that time, and he is now. Crazy for me to say this. And the story would be cool, but on paper it looks so one-sided. If only we had Edge in WWE still. We could have had like Edge, Damian, and Rhea against Liv, Dom, and Finn.
We can save this for another time,
Sure.
but I do wonder nowadays what WWE would be like if Edge was still here.
Thank you for the inspo, because that may be a video we throw together on,
You know,
on
like
YouTube.
what, like that's another what if. Like, what if he stayed?
I'm ready to like straight up just like book a whole thing from that moment on.
Because we're actually it'll be a year in 6 days from now. It'll be a year since that Sheamus match.
See, I'd argue that he did everything he had to do at that time.
Right.
But within this past year, man, Edge versus Cody could have been great. Edge versus... sorry, I'm going to go on a tangent. I need to stop before that. But Edge versus Damian, now that Damian's a singles guy.
Yep.
Once Damian was world champion, imagine we had an Edge-Damian Priest world title match.
Mm-hmm.
With like face Priest and heel Edge.
Even like Edge versus Gunther.
Yo.
The idea of Edge being gone, because he was done as of August of last year, and then September, October, November, 3 months later, Punk came back. I'm like, what would Punk now and Edge now?
True ships in the night for sure.
How much fun would that be?
Just the promos alone, dude.
Exactly. Like, just the promos alone would be like everything. But
crazy the combos that we don't get by this brand split.
No.
We're missing out on the promos between CM Punk and LA Knight too right now.
That would be hostile. That would be
Right?
actually a very good time.
Right,
That'd
that's
be a
what I'm
very,
saying.
very
Oh
good
man.
time.
Oh,
But yeah,
man.
anyway,
we're in for a treat.
Yeah, we don't want to get distracted here.
No, agreed.
The Judgment
Agreed.
Day stuff, I'm starting to really like now. It's starting to cook a lot more.
Yeah.
I think now that and like from both sides too, because like from the side of the Terror Twins of like Rhea and Damian trying to like, you know, fight their way back and like take out those that hurt them is going to be an awesome story moving forward. And this new rugged Judgment Day Bullet Club thing.
I am concerned about how they book this.
Okay.
I wish they kept Damian and Rhea away from this new Judgment Day to allow this new Judgment Day to pick up traction, because at this point it feels weird to have the new Judgment Day lose, but it also feels weird to have the Terror Twins lose, because obviously the goal is to build the two of them as single stars, and it's working, and they're already they're like 80% of the way there. I mean, Rhea's been there, but Damian's 80% of the way there. Like, it's tough, man, because I want to see it, but I'm also like worried that the Terror Twins are just gonna fuck up the new Judgment Day and make them look like absolute jokes going like at the start of this brand new run, and I'm not sure how they book it, because they really have to walk this tightrope to make both look good coming out of it. However, prediction for Bash in Berlin, I think we get Rhea and Damian against Dom and Liv, because Finn has said Finn has been like actively avoiding trying to fight Damian. He's like, oh, I'm not gonna fight you. No, you're beneath me, basically, is what he's saying. So I think he's gonna sick Dom and Liv on them. And it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lock on Rhea and Damian for sure. But I think that's where we go right now.
Yeah, I think you just have the tag match at Berlin, because from there you can build up and like split off. Because Rhea at this point is more, you know, like, you took everything from me now, but I just kind of want the title back. Screw Dom at this point. Dom's a lost cause. With Damian, it's not that he wants the title back, because that title now belongs to, scary Austrian man. But for Damian, it's like, look, I just want to like get payback on those that wronged me. Like, you guys were my family, and you guys hurt me like this. Which, like, yeah, you could do. And then the thing is where do you go from there? Because like Finn being a tag champ right now, and if he's the new de facto leader of this Judgment Day, probably have him go for a mid-card title at some point.
Right, and then also you have this tag match with Sammy and Jay, and Finn and Dame and JD, and I can't help but think Sammy and Jay pick up the tag titles to go into this Bloodline feud with like a mirror image of having both the tag champions on either side. But then at the same time, again, New Judgment Day comes in with another L, and it's like, like
it's hard. I I think they hold off on the Sami Jay winning the tag belts thing, because I feel like what's going to happen is Judgment Day will win due to shenanigans, if you will, and it ends up being Sami and Jay being like, okay, well, we're moving to SmackDown anyway. They're not going to like straight up say it, but they're like, well, we're going anyway, so we might have better luck out there. Like, we'll say bye to Raw for now. And like, we were screwed again by a faction that does nothing but, shenanigans. That sounds familiar, because I can get into this more when we get to this part of the show, but, I don't think the Roman apology tour starts until like mid-September.
I'm with you. I think Jimmy might come back first because he's already on SmackDown, and like he was still loyal to Roman throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's a quick one to come back first.
But yeah, just moving back to the Judgment Day. Cool. I like what's going on. I'm very curious as to what they do now. Like, do they have Carlito go after a title? Do they have Dom go after a title? Like, do they try to really be like the next big faction in the company of like holding as many belts as they can?
I hope it leads to a world title for Finn, an IC title for Dom, and Carlito deserves the world.
Carlito can get whatever Carlito wants.
Carlito can get a PS5.
Carlito, do you want us to bring the light heavyweight championship back? We'll do it for you. Do you want us to bring the European?
Carlito can get the speed title, dude.
Oh my god.
Yes. Let's go.
The title that they don't show on TV.
Right. Exactly.
That would actually be very up Carlito's whole like,
that'd be perfect for him.
Yeah.
However, JD McDonough's been competing for the speed belt, so maybe they'll put it on JD. Who knows?
What the hell? I'm so confused. Anyway, what's next?
Hey, one last big story from Raw, because we had a lot. We can't talk about it all, so we hit the major points here, and then the main event of Monday Night Raw. Wow, we saw the in-ring debut of two factions, not just one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So one that we have been seeing, but have been like, are they a team? Are they not a team? What are they? Who are they? What's their motivation? And that is Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. So earlier in the night, Chad is like, Otis and all those jokes over there, Otis and Maxine and Tozawa, keep the name, keep Alpha Academy. I don't care. I don't want it anymore. We are American made. So Creeds and Gable are now known as American made. Gable has a new theme music, new Tron. The Creeds are with him now. They look really good. And they lost this match, but the presentation alone looks really good. And I'm super excited to see where they take them after this feud. Now let's talk about the real reason why this is such a big deal. And that is because it was the in-ring debut of the Wyatt 6. Not all of them. 3 of the 5, and that being Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, and Joe Gacy, which is interesting because commentary has still referred to all 3 of them as their actual names. Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy. So they are those people. It's just they've adopted this Bray Wyatt character.
At the end of the day, I think two things. First and foremost, it's crazy to think how like for the weeks leading up to this, I know you especially were like, I don't want to see him in the ring, yada, 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 what they're going to do. Part of me was like, I'm actually very excited because they're all really good wrestlers. And to the second point, yeah, they're being referred to by their actual names because at the end of the day, they're still those people. The monikers that they adopted from the Funhouse are just personifications of what they were. Joe Gacy being Huskus the Pig Boy, Dexter Lumis is Mercy the Buzzard, I believe. And then Eric Rowan being Ramblin' Rabbit. These are just all the personifications of Bray Wyatt's Funhouse that they've taken. However, they're still the same people. This isn't a retribution type thing where they have new names like Slapjack and Thunder Fist and I don't think that was a name for anyone in Retribution. Could have been. But
that was Mace's name.
Ah, right, yes. I forgot about Mace. But yeah, I think just, them being referred to as like their actual names is still good. Like I think that's the point. And I'm glad they're rolling with that because otherwise it just takes away from the gimmick. Like, you're just calling, like, oh, Husky's the pig boy, hit it. Like, no, that just sounds dumb, right? With American Made, that's, I love how much it just screams World's Greatest Tag Team. It just feels like World's Greatest Tag Team all over again.
Did you hear the music? The entrance theme? It literally sounds like like if Kurt Angle was given a Def Rebel theme in 2024, that would be the theme. It even includes the time for the fans to yell "You suck" within the song.
Yeah, it I mean, good on Def Rebel for putting that in, but at the same time, like, that's just funny. I'm very excited for I think the name's dumb. Excuse me. I think the name's stupid. American Made, but like,
I think it's kind of dumb too. American something with America in it was expected, but I didn't know American Made was going to be the name. It's growing on me the more I hear it and the more I read it and say it.
Yeah.
So well, I guess I'm just going to let him cook.
Like with with Gable, like it started with American Alpha and then the Alpha Academy. So it's like, okay, you get rid of the Alpha part, you keep the America part. And like, to be fair, you look at the three of them and you're like, those are Americans. You know what I mean? Like, they are the embodiment of America. Like, what? Did you see that tweet that was going around about that match where it's like, I've never seen a WWE match in my life, but if you told me that, like, if you were to tell me who was wrestling, I would tell you it was like the Penn State wrestling team versus like the Rocky Picture Horror Show or some shit like that. And I'm like,
oh, yeah, I did see that. Yes,
yeah, I can't remember the exact tweet, but like, all I remember is that they called American Made the Penn State wrestling team, and I'm like, yeah,
so accurate.
They are. I mean, they were all collegiate wrestlers, to be fair, but like, yeah, they are very much looking like collegiate heavyweight wrestlers. This match was fun. This match was really fun. It highlighted everything it needed to in regards to all six people and what exactly they were going for with all six people. And the ridiculousness of the Wyatt Six is going to be so good because they're not bland in the ring when they're working together. Like, they'll shut, like, Eric Rowan grabs Joe Gacy and tosses him into someone. They grab Dexter Lumis and toss him over the ropes to cannonball a dude on a table. Like, this is exactly what we need from the Wyatts. We need this, very abrupt and you're never going to see what they're doing coming kind of thing.
It was so good.
Yeah, and the other thing I like too is no one's hitting a Sister Abigail, which I personally think is great.
Well, they did have Uncle Howdy hit it once.
Yeah, but he's Uncle Howdy. He makes sense to do it.
Yes.
Right? It, like, if you had everyone in the Wyatts like do the Sister Abigail as a finisher, then it feels like this is a little too on the nose. But they're still themselves, so they still do all the things to do. Like, Eric Rowan, he'll do things in honor of Luke Harper, which I think is awesome. He'll have, like, the running clothesline and everything.
They all do the yeah, too.
Oh, God, I love it. But yeah, that was... I said this when they debuted. I said this a few weeks ago when they came out on Raw, and, like, every now and then when they come out on Raw. This shit is cinema. Like, the way they've packaged and the way they have handled production for the Wyatt Six has been so good.
Yeah, man. Going back to what you said about me being hesitant about them being in the ring. Yeah, I was incredibly hesitant about them being in the ring. I didn't want them to be in the ring because Vince did not prove to me in any way, shape, or form that this could work in an in-ring setting. It worked as a promo, it worked as a cinematic match, but the second they were in the ring as an organized match in the arena with the crowd, with the ref and the bells and whistles and everything, it didn't work. It took me out. The one time it did work for me was the Fiend and the Demon. Or was it Fiend and Demon, or was it just Fiend and Finn? It might have just been Fiend and Finn. That SummerSlam
2019 in Toronto.
Yes.
I was there. Yeah.
That match was fucking incredible.
Oh yeah.
And that was like, okay, we're cooking now. And then they kind of fell off and they stuck the title on him, and then they had him lose to Goldberg. And
the immediate presentation of the Fiend was done to perfection. Like, it scared the shit out of everybody watching it. They're like, what the hell is this? And then it just became a little too ridiculous after that. Yeah. And it's not like, there's two ways you can look at this. Really, there are. One way is you look at how things are done in ring, and one way how things were done overall. Overall, I thought it was fine up until, you put him in matches where he's getting squashed, or you're doing things like calling a no contest in a Hell in a Cell match where the point is that doesn't happen. Right?
Right.
And like the Firefly Funhouse is still one of my favorite things they ever did. And that really helped out the Fiend character of like understanding that Bray just wanted to be Bray, but he was also trapped because there's this fucking demon living inside of him, right? And then they would put him in the ring, and then you're like, oh no. And also just too many world title matches. You never needed to do that.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's clear. It seems clear to me that they are keeping them far away from world titles or any championship aspirations, as they should. And to come around on my point and wrap that up too, we haven't seen a Triple H Bray Wyatt universe gimmick yet. This was the first time we'd seen it. So of course I'm gonna let Triple H cook at all times, all hours. Triple H can cook. He's cool in my kitchen. He's welcome. But that man, it was perfect. It was perfect. The presentation was great. They unmasked, so they didn't wrestle in their masks. We acknowledged the fact, yes, you know who these people are. These are their names. This is how they came to be. They were abandoned by their families, and they decided to come together and build a new family. Everybody was in a faction in the past. Gacy had his own. Loomis was in the way. Eric Rowan, obviously, the Wyatts, and Daniel Bryan as well, if you want to think about that. And Nikki Cross with her various tag teams with Rhea Ripley and people Alexa Bliss and Sanity and all of that. Everybody had a point. And Bo Dallas, even with himself, with B Team, with just B Team. I don't think he was. I was gonna say 3MB, but he was not in 3MB.
No.
But still, you know what I mean. Everybody had a purpose there. And yeah, it's cool. It's just like they're normal people that happen to dress like Wyatt people and present themselves in a creepy way like Wyatts have done in the past, which is great. It's great. It's grounded enough to where it makes sense. There's no hokey bullshit. There's no like hocus pocus. There's no projections on the ring mat of insects. Like,
hey,
you don't need any of that.
That was
it was trash.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so easily the Wyatt Six get the win. And it was a solid match. It was short, but it did what it needed to do. It showed the high spots. It showed me that Gacy and Loomis are the tag team, and my God, they're gonna be a force, man. They are gonna be such a force. I'm excited to see Sister Abby the Witch, Nikki Cross in the ring. I'm excited to see Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas in the ring. I thought it was funny during American Made's entrance, actually, when they walked down the ramp, there was somebody on the barricade, like on the side, that was literally wearing an Uncle Howdy mask during the entrance. Okay. And like they looked at it and we were like, whoa. I was like, that's great. It was awesome. Yeah, man, it was a perfect way to end a perfect Raw. That Raw was seriously one of the best episodes of Raw I've ever seen in my entire life.
Before we finish up talking about Raw, 'cause I feel like we don't need to touch up on this, but I want to. And that is Bronson Reed.
I forgot about that. Oh, that was the other major point I missed. Thank you. Yeah.
That is so far in the Triple H era, as far as like booking like a monster heel goes, like, you have your different kinds of monsters. You have Gunther, your big bad, like kind of final boss kind of monster. You have Roman, the ultimate true final boss kind of monster, You have Braun Breaker now, the monster that's just unkillable. Like, he's not big bad, but he's just too powerful in general, right? But he's not the same kind of elite level as like a Gunther or even like up to Reigns. And then you have Bronson Reed. Someone who has been overlooked for so long in wrestling, who came back to the company, and this dude just, what a way to really like up your stock value. Of literally just murdering Seth Rollins.
Crazy. And so to talk about it a little bit, so Rollins, Punk, and Drew had a promo, whatever. Drew pissed Punk off, and Punk ran after Drew, and Seth was alone in the ring. Earlier in the night, Bronson Reed was talking to Adam Pearce, basically like, stop overlooking me, man. I beat Sheamus. I beat these people in this undercard feud. Give me an opportunity. And Pearce is like, not right now, bruh. And he's like, fine, I'll go make one. So when Seth is left alone in the ring, Bronson Reed attacks him and hits him with 6 tsunami splashes. 7?
7 tsunamis.
I thought it was 6. Okay.
Apparently it was 7, yeah.
7 tsunami splashes. And it just kept... the crowd was going nuts. This is the biggest reaction this man has gotten by a mile. It ended the segment with Rollins being taken away to a hospital. Michael Cole did not call it a local medical facility. He called it a hospital, which is huge.
Yeah.
To get treated for internal bleeding because Rollins chewed a blood capsule and was spitting blood in the ring and coughing it up. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Goddamn. So Bronson Reed, he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal this year at the SmackDown, Go Home SmackDown to Mania. Yeah. We all forgot. I know you forgot. I didn't because I was there. But since then, he's kind of been quiet, right? So this was the perfect opportunity to bring him back. This is the perfect opportunity. We're in the fall time, right? We talked about it. It's the purgatory. It's the time where we're not sure. We're kind of just coasting between now and Survivor Series.
Things are just happening.
So this is the time to test out. You know, give Bronson Reed an opportunity. Give Pete Dunne an opportunity. Give Sheamus an opportunity. Give Sheamus. He's been a world champion.
Sheamus
give Ludwig Kaiser an opportunity. You know what I mean? So this is perfect. Seth versus Bronson probably going to happen at Bash in Berlin or the main event of Raw at some point. I hope Bronson wins. I honestly hope Bronson wins.
That's assuming Seth's able to go, because apparently he's hurt again.
Oh, right. I forgot. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a mess. So yeah, Rollins is apparently, that was a way to write off Rollins from TV.
Yeah, because apparently he's like dealing with some chronic injuries and he was off TV again for a little while. We don't know how long, but like, uh-oh. Seth Rollins is dead again.
Very unfortunate, but apparently it's a chronic injury and not something like emergency, like nothing had happened in his... Obviously, he only was the referee in that match. So, so he's
like,
good.
What a way to book Bronson Reed.
What a way, man.
He needed that. He needed that, and not major point, but this is how I kind of want to finish talking about Raw, was the long-awaited debut of... If Tim were here, he'd say who? Odyssey Jones.
Who?
Exactly. Which,
as
like,
Santi Zap would say.
Yeah, which, like, to be fair, it took too damn long, and when he got to the ring, I was like, who is this? And I was like, oh, is that guy?
I knew. I was like,
oh,
I remember his face from the draft every year.
What got me was the fact that he lifted Akam and Rezar at the same time, like, no problem. And then I found out he squats like 550, and I was like, I'm afraid of this guy now.
The second he came out, I was like, we found him. We found Bigger E.
He really is just Bigger E. And I'm liking the little bit of dissension between Woods and Kofi in regards to Odyssey. But
so do you think that that's going to be like temporary? Like, do you think that's going to be like Xavier's mad right now and it's only to feed into this Karrion Kross story, or do you and eventually he's going to accept Odyssey as the new Big E in the New Day, or do you think it's going to lead to like an Xavier heel turn?
You know what the problem is? You know how everyone's been talking about a New Day split up because it's gotten a little stale, and with E on the shelf, like, you know, don't really know where to go. I feel like people are still gonna be mad if they split the New Day up. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't want Xavier to split because they've said that they want to stay together. It's clear that they have this brotherhood.
But like,
and like, here's another thing. I don't want to give Karrion Kross the satisfaction of knowing that he got Xavier Woods to split from Kofi.
Karrion, look,
fuck that guy.
Karrion Kross is
fuck
like
that guy.
I have never seen someone become so vanilla.
But not, right? Like, it's like he's also clearly not. But he's
like,
just like,
he's actually like Kross is a good promo. Not great, but he's a good promo. Like, he can tell a story. You know what I mean? His in-ring stuff is like whatever. He's big, right?
Yeah,
cool. But this whole, what are they called? The Final Testament?
Yes.
Okay, I almost said the Final Judgment. I'm like, that's not their name. It's the other one. that has to do with the higher
The
powers
other
that be.
the other stable with gothic undertones.
Yeah. Weird. Maybe they should come together and call themselves the Ministry of Spookiness, because the Ministry of Darkness was already taken. You get the idea.
That was great.
Yeah. Ministry of Spook. I'm so bored of this Final Testament thing. Like, just stop.
They're trying so hard, man. Like I think
so boring.
I think that Karrion Kross is the first wrestler in my entire life that I've looked at and observed negative aura. Not just like no aura, like negative aura. Like he's the first one that it's like when I'm watching these shows and he comes on, he's the one that I'm like, all right, I got to switch away. I got to do something else. But I can't now because I've been live reacting to these.
Yeah.
So now all I do is just shit on it.
It just like, yeah, I don't know. I want to say not nice things, but I don't want to. Anyway, Odyssey Jones is here. He could be the bigger E, but if this leads to the Xavier Woods heel turn, I'm going to be a little annoyed because I can't take Xavier Woods seriously as a heel.
Yeah, he's too nice of a guy.
He's way too nice of a guy.
Too
like,
nice
genuinely,
of a guy.
he's too nice of a guy. The only thing I would ever care about is if this somehow led to Xavier like leaving WWE and being like, all right, Kenny, you and me, 1-on-1, let's do this.
Yo, honestly, I'd love to see Xavier go on like a excursion to Japan or something. I think
he'd do well.
I know we're in the throes of the G1 now, but it would have been cool to see him in the G1. Obviously, pie in the sky, never gonna happen. But like,
he's never winning.
Not
that
while
damn
he's
thing,
not
but
while
like,
he's under contract. Obviously.
Yeah, but like, there's a ton of guys like Xavier that I would love to have seen like in a G1 or like even in Noah's N1 tournament. Now to be fair, Noah's tournament is definitely a lot less like intense. So like throwing him in the N1 would be cool. You know, like what they're doing with Tavion Heights right now, and he's gotten super over.
Yeah, Tavion Heights and Josh Briggs too.
Yep. Yeah, and they're getting like fucking crazy over on that tournament, which is great. But yeah, like it would be funny to see Xavier just go on a little excursion. Maybe he goes back to TNA for like a hot minute as Consequences Creed.
Honestly, with this TNA deal, fuck it. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Screw it, that'd be fun. Yo, give me Xavier Woods versus Joe Hendry.
Yo.
You know how stupid that would be?
Well, that actually serves as the perfect segue because speaking of NXT, I watched NXT this week.
How was it? I didn't.
Man, it was NXT's cooking, dude.
I know.
It's raw. It's raw, like way up here.
Well,
and
yeah.
It's NXT here. Not too far, but not close.
Yeah.
And then
SmackDown's
kind of here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not as far away. I don't know.
But SmackDown's like not cooking.
Right. Like they have a couple of things that are cooking, but NXT's cooking, dude. Like Joe Hendry had a really great match against Gallus. First off, he comes out, he does his entrance, and he does like the spin around with the camera zooming in. That sucks, by the way. They need to work on that. And then like instead of just standing there for a second, he immediately like snaps out of it, jumps over the rope and dives onto Gallus. And I was like, yo, I didn't even know he could do that. That was cool.
Yeah, no, Joe Hendry's full of surprises, and I'm glad he did that because now it's like,
that's
fun.
And then he did the Eddie. He jumped on the announce desk and made a slam sound to make it sound like he was like thrown there by the other guys.
He threw one of them, the chair, jumped on the desk. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
And then and then the ref turned around. It looked like the guy, they hit him and they kicked him out of the ringside. So that was really cool. Hendry got the win. No surprise. But the big story I would like to talk about from NXT is this is one of the most heartbreaking heel turns I've ever seen in my entire life. I was about to say
this. When you told me this happened, I was like, dude, no.
Bro, the reaction that I had watching it is crazy. If y'all haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on the YouTube and TikTok. But, man, so MSK, Wesley and Zachary Wentz challenged Axiom and Nathan Fraser for the NXT tag titles. Axiom and Nathan Fraser are the tag team that will not lose, bro. Every match, they're the Sami Zayn of NXT. They kind of
they cook in the ring.
Well, here's the thing: they're constantly fighting. They're constantly bickering. Like right now, like before, when it was leading up to Chase U, Axiom was mad because Nathan Fraser was on
and then apparently
Speed.
and then it was the other way around where
so
Axiom was just
Axiom was like, hey man, listen, I realized I was wrong. You can do both. So I'm on speed. I'm challenging for. I'm on speed. I'm challenging for the speed championship.
Yikes!
I'm in the speed championship tournament, and Fraser's like, "Bro, are you kidding? We have a match against MSK." And so there's been that tension. So every match, I'm like, "Okay, they're gonna split. They're gonna lose. They're gonna split. They're gonna lose. They're gonna split." And they win, and I don't get it. So MSK challenge, right? And here I'm like, all right. MSK has to be if any TNA talent is going to win an NXT championship in this agreement, it's the tag title.
It's MSK.
It's the tag title, and it's MSK because one of the NXT guys is in it, and they lost.
Which I was really surprised by.
Yes,
but then again, I was also I haven't watched the match yet, but I feel like I wouldn't be as surprised after watching the match. Like I was like NXT Heatwave, I was kind of surprised that actually when Fraser retained the titles after Chase U literally fucking did like the wildest shit I've ever seen in my life. I still don't. That Canadian Destroyer still lives rent free in my mind, man.
Yeah, I know.
That fucking Canadian Destroyer in a sweater.
Fucking Andre Chase.
Like what a G. What a in dress pants and a sweater.
For real.
Like, what a G. Anyway, but I saw the finish of the match and I'm like, okay, so Fraser and Axiom win. Cool. And I was like, so how do they split MSK? And then it happened, and I was like,
well, yeah. So they're all hugging in the ring, and Wes is really sad. He's looking like he's about to cry. Earlier in the night, he got an interview where he was about to cry as well. So I was completely not expecting it. But they're all hugging in the ring. They're like, it's not going to take 2 years. We'll get him. We'll get those titles.
We'll get them back. Yeah.
And Wesley fucking super kicks Trey Miguel, and the crowd went ballistic. And then Zach Wentz is like, bro, that's your brother. What are you doing? And Wesley, without even saying a word, just low blows
him, man. That was just like,
crazy.
Oh my God.
Goes outside the ring and he jumps into he does like that. I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. The running crotch move into Zachary Wentz into the steel steps. What did he spear? Or clothesline or something. Trey Miguel through the barricade. This was a perfect way to bring in TNA talent for an NXT story. They brought I don't believe that Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz will be on NXT anymore. I think that they were fully used as a long-term vehicle to turn Wesley heel. And they executed it to perfection. My only question is where they go from here, because they have two heel champions right now in Obafemi and Ethan Page.
Yeah.
So do we get a Wesley Trick Williams feud moving forward? Do we get a Wesley Joe Hendry feud? Do we get a Wesley Javon Evans feud? We have a lot of options. That's a very flippy match.
Hold on.
Okay.
You said flippy. You're forgetting the other option.
Okay.
They do have that deal with TNA. Right? Give me heel Wesley for the X Division title against Speedball Mike Bailey.
That'd be wild.
Give me that.
I would be down. I would be so down.
Screw everything else on NXT. Because, like, to be fair, it'd be great if he went after, like, Javon Evans, or he went after Trick, or he went after Oba again, or, whatever, right?
No, a match with Oba where the roles are reversed?
Heel
anyway.
Wesley against Oba would be, to be fair, that first match slapped. But this time would be, it'd be so good. But,
yeah.
Right? Just think about it.
Okay.
One title Wesley has not won when he was in NXT was the X Division title.
In TNA,
yeah. Right? So what if he decided, I'm going to go back to TNA for a little bit. He was like, I'm not happy here. Maybe that's why he's been so sad. He hasn't been able to do much in NXT since losing the tag titles, since losing the North American Championship, right? It's been a while for him. So what if he said, I'm going back to TNA? And there's something that I've been so close to winning, but I've never been able to win yet. That's the X Division title. And, like, Mike Bailey is a perfect target. Like, that could cook.
Yo, I could see it. I could see it.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this whole heel Wesley thing moving forward. I am very sad that they broke up MSK like that.
A weird time to do it.
Really weird time. Like really weird time. Yeah.
But that's why I'm so intrigued. I'm like, I want to know where they go now. you know. And Oba could be a face in NXT. The fans love him. Like the fans appreciate his work and they recognize the greatness. And that's been the new thing, right? That's what's turning people face now. Like if the fans recognize that you're doing exceptional work, then they're gonna turn you face. Like that's been what we've seen. We've seen it with Damian. We've seen it with Cody, even though Cody's already been the face, but we've kind of already seen that. We've seen it with Roman. We've seen it with Randy Orton.
I think the thing is just like face Oba, I think should mark where he eventually leaves NXT and gets called up.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think
so.
Here's where I think we go. I think without taking Wesley out of the equation, I think we get Oba dropping the North American title to Javon Evans.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what we build to. And then Oba takes the NXT title off of Trick when Trick wins it from Ethan Page. I think Trick is going to win it back from Ethan Page. I think that's no question. But I think it's going to be on the debut night of CW or week 2 when Randy Orton's there, maybe, because they're doing 2 arena shows.
Which is going to be cool. Wow.
And then after when Trick's second reign with the title is over, Oba will take the title from Trick, I think. Because Oba needs a lot more time in NXT. Trick needs a decent amount as well. Trick probably is going to be in there until next year at least. Oba's got 2-3 years on him. He's still in the beginning of his career.
He really is, but he feels like he's almost ready to go.
I agree.
I wouldn't be
mad. Stick him in Rumble. Fuck it.
His promos are clean. His in-ring work as like a heel giant is everything Omos wasn't. And that's not a shot at Omos. It's just how booking is, right? Like everything Oba's been doing in NXT has been just like, this is what we need from a true like Godzilla level threat monster. Well, but yeah, the MSK thing broke my heart, and it sucks, but I'm curious to see what they do now with a heel Wesley. I'm very curious just to see, like, you know, what goes on with the NXT title. And as of recording this, it is the 11th of August. In 8 days is going to be Julia's last indie appearance. And then she shows up at NXT immediately after.
Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
Or at No Mercy, because that's going to be a stadium show or an arena show.
Yeah, it might be, because they've already made it very apparent in public that the 19th is her last day of like Marigold events and whatnot. So as soon as she's done, it's off to the US with her to get ready for NXT. And probably, if they have her and Stephanie Vaquer debut on the same night, like, I feel like they're gonna save that for CW. Ooh. I feel like they're gonna save that for CW.
Bro, the fact that they have both is insane. I would have told and it's crazy because I feel like if they knew that they were gonna get Stephanie Vaquer when they got Julia, they would have just sent Julia to main roster.
Yeah.
But I think at this point we've established that Julia is an NXT talent. We may as well keep her there. Does Stephanie Vaquer go to Raw or SmackDown right away?
No, I think you have them both on NXT because it makes things so much more interesting.
See, the crazy thing is, like, I actually like NXT's women's division. I'm learning more and more about it. It's obviously very green and very unpolished. But there's so many names and there's so much promise with all of them. It's actually crazy. Jada Parker has been talking about going after the NXT women's title as well. She's the girl with OTM.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we got Sol Ruka.
Sol Ruka's been great.
We got Lola Vice, who needs a lot of promo work. I don't understand why people think she's amazing. I mean, she's great in the ring, but her promo work leaves a lot to be desired.
To be polished,
yeah. But she's a shoe-in. You know, we got Kalani Jordan, we got Fallon Henley, we got JC Jane and Izzy Dame and all these people. We have so many, dude. Like, NXT's women's division is way better than Raw's and SmackDown's, both, because it's just so deep, man. I wish there was a way to have a brand split for the men and not the women, but you can't do it that way. It's going to be too messy. But I get why NXT got a women's mid-card title, because honestly, then A, they needed it. B, it gives the undercard of the women something to fight for, which allows them more TV time, which is what they need. They need more time to practice and get reps in. And it shows because they're cooking. Like, seriously, at NXT's women's division, there are a few stinkers in there right now, but they won't be such stinkers later. I'm being aggressive. I'm being harsh. But they'll get good, and the people that are good now are really good. So, good on that. So that's the state of NXT at the moment.
Well,
Oh,
well, I do want to talk about one thing before we move on to SmackDown
sure.
regarding NXT. Because if the rumors are to be believed, the CW era of NXT is going to be lunacy. Because, of course, we talked about the women's signings already. Right? We've talked about Stephanie Vaquer. We've talked about Julia. There's a really well-known, up-and-coming talent out of Australia known as Delta, who I believe they have locked up to a contract.
They have locked down Delta. I forgot
Which,
about that.
like, that's going to be cool, too. I've checked out a little bit of her stuff, and, like, I'm kind of excited, because they're all fucking stiff, strong-style wrestlers, and I'm like, yo, give me all of this.
And like you said, on the men's side as well, we got some big names potentially coming in.
Now, 2 of them are still rumored. 2 of them are all but confirmed. If you tell me that at the CW era of NXT, when that starts in September, right? Or is that October?
I think September.
Okay. Your tag division is going to be made up of, Chase U, Axiom and Fraser, if they're still holding the titles. What other tag teams do we have in NXT right now? I've really lost track.
Chase U, Axiom and Fraser. We have Malik Blade and Idris Enofe. We have OTM.
Yep.
We have Good Brothers. We have Hank and Tank. We have
God damn it.
Who else
Gallus
do we have?
and Anderson.
We have Gallus.
Yeah, we have Gallus.
Fuck, I feel like there are more too, better ones, but anyway.
So you have all that, and then you potentially add. Just thinking about this in my head is like I 14-year-old Yusuf would like this is never going to happen, but it's happening. You add the Motor City Machine Guns and potentially the Lucha Brothers.
So I have a note on that, actually.
Okay.
So Lucha Brothers, yes. And sorry, I just gotta. I was checking the first date for CW NXT. NXT debuts on the CW on October 1st. So
it's October.
Right. It is
okay.
October.
It's October.
But anyway, with Lucha Brothers, I did hear that they are also rumored to be coming in. But I also heard that they are requesting specifically that they skip NXT and go straight to the main roster.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that they stay together.
Yeah. They have to stay together. Yeah.
So Raw and SmackDown with the Lucha Brothers, potentially with Motor City Machine Guns, or they go down to NXT. Personally, I don't think either team needs to go down to NXT. I think they're both good enough to where they should just be on the main roster.
Oh, 100%. But I think it'd be just it would be so much fun to watch the Motor City Machine Guns just tear it up in NXT for like 3 months.
You're right.
And then be like, all right, we're bored. Up to SmackDown we go. Where's DIY?
Man, and that's another thing I want to talk about with SmackDown in a bit. But yeah, man, these signings and the potential for Ricky Starks to come in.
That is still up in the air, which is insane. Like,
but also like it's also a no-brainer. Come on, Cody's one of Cody's running buddies.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like
so, and with Ricky, it's interesting too because you could have him go to NXT, or you could just have him say skip NXT and go straight to the main roster and start a story with Cody as Cody's best friend in a feud with somebody else, and then Ricky turns on Cody, and then you get Ricky Cody down the line, which is nuts. So we have a lot of potential for NXT and main roster to get a shot in the arm. And with that, I think that is the state of NXT now. Yeah. Let's jump over to SmackDown. So let's make this story real quick. There's a couple of big stories and then a bunch of little stories. So the first big story, we have the WWE title match set for Bash in Berlin. Cody Rhodes came out and basically was like, hey, I'm Cody Rhodes. I'm the champion. I get to pick my challenger. And I picked Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens said, fuck that. He said, no thanks. He said, I did not earn it. I did not deserve it. And Cody's like, okay, well, see you in Berlin because I'm going to go talk to Nick right now. So then later in the night, the three of them are in Nick Aldis's office. And Nick Aldis is like, actually, this is kind of a moot point because I was actually waiting to talk to Roman Reigns about giving him a title match. And KO's like, did you say Roman Reigns?
I saw that segment and I was like, I love Kevin Owens' reaction. Just Roman Reigns. Why? He held it for 4 years. Why would you? He's like, you guys haven't enforced the rematch clause in years. Why would he get a rematch? No. Roman
He's like,
Reigns,
you haven't, yeah, because he was like, you haven't enforced the rematch clause. In fact, I'm still owed a universal title match down the line.
Like, I love that. Just Kevin Owens was like, look, out of modesty and humbleness and respect for Cody, like, I'm gonna say no. You know, you're my friend. I don't want to do that to you. And then as soon as Roman Reigns' name was brought up, Kevin was like the fucking. You ever play Metal Gear Solid when the exclamation point?
It was like Punk in the bracelet.
Roman Reigns.
It was like Punk in the bracelet, like your face with that.
Roman Reigns? No, he's not getting a title shot.
And in the promo we cut, it was all justified. It was all true. It's so right. And like, and here's the thing. People are like, oh, Cody Rhodes is just calling out another challenger, and we're gonna get another boring match. Cody's gonna win. This sucks. This is boring. Shut up, dude. Shut up. You had that same thought going into Cody and AJ, and guess what? Match of the year.
Yeah.
Match of the year.
It was a really good match.
Cody and Logan, and guess what? Not match of the year, but it was still a great match. Yeah. It was a great match, and you know it. You absolutely know it. And then with Cody and Solo, we finally got a story that you wanted. You wanted a story. You wanted a reason for a title match besides Cody saying, I pick you. Or Nick Aldis saying, I pick you. He finally had that. And what'd you say? No, it was mid. Until Roman came out, right? And then you were happy. Yeah. Right? Come on. This has been a good title reign. You just want to hate Cody. You want to hate a babyface because you got what you wanted and now you're complacent. So guess what? This is the reality. Cody versus KO is going to cook, and you know it, and you're in denial, and because it's cool to hate Cody right now. And it's gonna, and I think it might lead. I think it might lead to a KO heel turn.
Oh, it absolutely should lead to a KO heel turn.
I'm worried about that because then there will be a lack of faces at the top of SmackDown. But with Cody as champion, you kind of need to stack the deck with heels.
I feel like sure there's going to be too many heels, but like when your two big baby faces are Roman and Cody,
and LA Knight with the US title,
and LA Knight with the US title, yeah. Like if those are your three top guys, you don't really need much else.
You really don't.
You really don't.
You really don't.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get Cody and KO at Bash in Berlin, against KO's wishes. And also, like, I don't understand why KO is so against a title shot. I mean, like, more money, more exposure, better career, like everything. Like, this is a promotion. This is the equivalent to a promotion in your job, and you don't want it.
I think what's going to happen is now KO for a couple weeks leading up to Bash in Berlin, because that's at the end of the month.
Yes,
it's at the end of August. He's going to be like, look, I've been like really comfortable now. He's like, my only goal has been, destroying the bloodline. Cody, you're my friend. I have all the respect for you, blah, blah, blah. I think like 2 weeks before the show, or like a week or something before the show, that's when we're going to get prize fighter Kevin Owens back, where he starts looking at the title again and goes, it's been a while since that's been around my waist.
Yeah, I think, I've read about this take, and I agree with you. I think it's going to be a situation where KO is like, listen, I'm your friend. I don't want to ruin our friendship by taking this title match with you. But I think as the weeks go on, we're going to start to, because I think it's going to be a story of KO doesn't want to show Cody his prize fighter side, because he knows the prize fighter side prioritizes the title over everyone and every friendship, Sami Zayn included. Think about the NXT feud with Sami. He was best friends with Sami, and he wanted the title, so he turned on Sami. Chris Jericho, he wanted the title from Chris Jericho. He turned on Chris Jericho and got the title. Like, it's crazy. It's
I think too.
It's something.
Like,
it's
I
gonna
think
be.
It's also gonna be that. Yeah, I also think that it's gonna be Cody kind of like bringing that side out of him. Yeah. I think Cody's going to cut a promo here and there where he's like, Kevin, you were the prize fighter. You would do anything for this title. Just like I would do anything for this title.
Where's that Kevin Owens?
And Kevin's going to be like, you know what? You're right. You had a good point there. And then, like, kill Cody.
Yeah. I think we could see that.
Yeah.
I think we also could see the hysteria, the Roman Reigns hysteria getting to him a little too much, and that turning him heel as well.
It is insane how Roman Reigns' not whole career, but the last 10 years, I guess now, of his career have really been emphasized by being haunted by your past and the hysteria of it.
Right?
Like, and even not even just for Roman, but for the people surrounding Roman. Seth,
Seriously.
Kevin. Yeah, like it is wild. Should we talk about Roman?
Yes. Before we do that, let's quickly touch on a couple things. So, the U.S. title, LA Knight cut a promo, interrupted by Santos Escobar. He had a number one contenders match with Andrade, which fucking cooked, dude.
It was a great match.
Go
the
watch
wrong
it.
guy won.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But we have other we have other stories to tell. We have Andrade and
true.
Carmelo to tell. I want Carmelo to win that feud, but I don't know. I'm starting to think Andrade might win it. But at the same time, Andrade's beaten Carmelo twice, so maybe Carmelo gets the last laugh.
Carmelo gets the
and moves
yeah.
up into that feud with LA Knight after that.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then we got Santos and LA Knight set up for the future for the U.S. title. That's the perfect go home SmackDown for Berlin.
Yeah.
And for the women's division, Nia Jax is having her celebration next week. So she was not on TV this week. And the WWE tag titles. So they had like a mini tournament of sorts where they had qualifier matches and the winners will face off in a number one contenders match next week. Street Profits beat Pretty Deadly in a pretty good match.
Okay.
And then DIY beat... Oh, man, who did they beat?
Someone.
No, who did they beat? A-Town Down Under, I
Ow.
think. Oh, wait. No. Oh my god, why am I blanking? I believe it was DIY beat Pretty Deadly, and then A-Town Down, and then Street Profits beat A-Town Down Under. I believe that's what happened. So, in both matches were great, but DIY is really, they cut a promo and leading into their entrance where they basically were talking about how Bloodline took their titles and how they're coming back for them, and they were like I think they were trying to really hammer home this DIY redemption tour, and I really hope that is the case. I really hope DIY eventually does win back those titles. They deserve a lengthy run, and I think Triple H knows that, and Triple H loves them, and I think he's going to say, listen, we really fucked you over with that, so try again.
I really don't understand what the point of having the Bloodline take the titles off him so quickly was.
I don't either. I really don't.
Like, if they had won the titles and then were like immediately defending them or something like that, then yeah, that makes sense. But like, no, they decided to have the Bloodline win them and then go the Christian Cage route of draping the titles over Solo as if Solo is the tag team champions. And like, I touched up on this when we talked about it after it happened, but like this would not happen in the OG Bloodline, right? Like, Roman wasn't obsessed with other gold; he was just obsessed with his gold.
Yeah,
he didn't give a shit about winning the tag titles. He had people do that for him.
Exactly.
And they were their titles, not his titles. Like, get it right. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. And that whole thing's interesting. Is there an update on Jacob?
I think the injury was a work.
Good. Okay.
Which is wild, because why would you take away that aura from Solo? Because Solo and Tongans out there this week was just no aura.
Yeah.
Tongaloa had the most aura. Tongaloa literally had the most aura because he held the title in like a fucked up way and looked like he botched even holding up the belt.
Oh, that was so dumb. Oh my god.
I think he's doing it on purpose now.
I think he is doing it on purpose.
So, and I hope so, because I love Tongaloa. He's my favorite part of the Bloodline now, besides Jacob. He's my favorite part.
Gotcha. For me, it's Jacob. Tama's not doing shit.
Jacob is my favorite as well,
yeah.
but like Tongaloa is a close second because of his constant botching.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
The way the eye patch, the
where
way he
did
holds
that
the
come
title
from?
up, he got injured somehow against somebody. I forget. Oh wait, he might have he might have gotten a botched. Like I think Solo went to spike him and spiked him in the eye. I don't remember. Hang on.
Okay.
I'm reading an article right now.
Why does Tongaloa wear an eye patch?
Pretty much. Someone said it was a Kevin Owens attack. Yeah, because Kevin Owens raked his eye apparently in a fight. So now he's wearing an eye patch. It's great. I love it. Yeah, and the way he held up the belt was so funny. I swear he's doing it on purpose, and I love him for that. So that is the Tongaloa story. So Roman comes out at the end of SmackDown. Well, at first the Bloodline came out. The Timu Bloodline came out, and Solo was like, Roman, I'm the tribal chief now. If you want it, come get it from me. Roman's music hits. He goes to come out. He fights with them for a bit. And eventually Roman comes out on top. I think Solo got out of the ring, and then Tama Tonga snatched the Ulafala out of the ring, gave it back to Solo because Roman almost had it and put it back on. And Tonga Loa hit the most of that offense, or took most of that offense from Roman.
Mind you, they did actually like get Roman down on the ground for a minute, and then like set him up in a corner. They were going to do a splash, and Tonga Loa was like hyping himself. I was like, and then Superman punch.
Superman punch. Yeah.
And then another Superman punch, and then a spear, and just like
yeah. And it felt very house show, but it's exactly what I expected it to be. Roman's not going to do anything crazy. Roman's not going to be out there for more than 10 minutes. So.
And here's the interesting thing about that. We actually have not heard Roman speak yet on a microphone. We've heard him trade barbs with Solo off a mic about like, I left you in charge while I was gone. The hell did you do? You had one job, things like that. I'm assuming next week they have Roman Reigns like speak. Because now we'll start to understand what exactly he's after. And I bring this up because, yeah, he came out to attack Solo, but his eyes are still on that title. He wants it back. And he's made it clear to Cody. He's like, it's coming back to me. I hope you know that.
I think we might get the Cody Roman rematch. But I almost don't think so.
I am of the belief now that this truly is our modern day Rock and Austin.
I agree.
And that we're going to get a trilogy. But I think they're going to do it the same way they handled Rock and Austin, where they did back-to-back Manias, and then the next one was like years later.
Off. Yeah. What I read about and on TikTok and what I'd seen and everything is a potential of a Cody Rock at Rumble, and Roman costs Rock, which leads to Roman Rock at Mania, and then Cody has a match with somebody else at WrestleMania. They didn't say who. It was mostly just booking Roman Reigns in the Bloodline. Mm-hmm. So we could get Roman Rock non-title at Mania 41. We could get we also could get, I think they were also saying Sami Zayn and Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, this Bloodline thing comes to, not a halt, but it comes to a head at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
So that will be figured out as we go. But, yeah, just, I'm very curious right now as to what Roman's intentions are. Because we are aware that he is here to get the Bloodline back and become Tribal Chief again. Because he never lost the namesake of Tribal Chief. He just dipped for a bit. And then, like, does he go after the title? Yes. When? We don't know. And then The Rock is still somewhere, looming around. And all that to say, I kind of feel bad for Solo Sikoa. Like, they tried to make this man the most serious dude on the roster, and then they brought in Jacob, and that aura was gone almost immediately. And they were like, "Don't worry, we can fix this." And they gave him the win over Cody at Money in the Bank, and then we were like, "Okay, there's heat, good." And then Roman came back, and we were like, "We do not care for Solo anymore."
It's pretty crazy.
It really Solo's.
It's a shame for Solo.
Yeah, but I mean, how, like, you can't fault the company for the way it's been booked.
I can't fault Solo either, though. He's not doing bad work. That's the problem,
right? Yeah, he's not doing bad work. It's just not clicking.
Yeah, I think part of it is because I think we're also mistaking, like, the fact that I think we're blurring the lines a bit between kayfabe and shoot. Because kayfabe, they are supposed to be boneless Roman and boneless Bloodline. There's no way they were going to be able to build themselves to an equal positioning to the Bloodline, the OG Bloodline, when the OG Bloodline had years of buildup, and this one had a few months, right? So yeah. I think sometimes we need to ground our expectations in that, but also there's just looking at the visual of the Tongans and Solo, it's hard to take them seriously without Jacob there and with Roman back. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I think the thing is they can be taken seriously, but they're kind of being booked not to be taken seriously. Like, well, no, let me rephrase that statement. They're being booked in a way where it's hard to take them seriously because it feels so ridiculous. Like nothing about this current bloodline feels like a threat. Like even with the OGs, like with Jimmy and Jay. Yeah, they're fucking doing stupid shit all the time. Right? Just them doing whatever, just yeet, just all that. Yeah, all that, but like they were still a threat. Like the Usos were still a threat. Solo was still a threat. You could take them seriously. Roman was the biggest threat of them all.
Right.
Now that title's been moved down to Solo is kind of like, it's like saying, this is going to be a really dumb analogy, but I'm going to try and make this work.
Here we
It's
go.
like saying you had a German Shepherd as your guard dog for your entire life. And then that German Shepherd unfortunately gets old and passes and leaves, or you do whatever. And you say, well, we got to get a new guard dog, and you replace it with a Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like the problem is they're called the Bloodline. If they were called something else and they were associated with something else, I feel like we wouldn't have had such a big problem with it. I think because it's quite literally just a new bloodline and it's a continuation of the OG bloodline. We're gonna compare it too much and it's gonna kind of water down our opinion. But you know, it's also a different kind of mystique. You know what I mean? Like it's different people. Like and they're people also the only person that was in WWE before this was Solo. Everyone else is kind of new to the general audience. So I expect it.
Tongaloa was Camacho.
Yeah, no one remembers that. No one cares about that.
I know.
We all like to forget that.
I couldn't remember for a minute. I was like stuttering. I know, like, what was his name? Was it? Yeah. Yeah, that. Anyway, I don't know.
Well, that's how SmackDown wrapped up. Roman stands tall. I'm scared for Cody with the pops that Roman is getting.
I'm not.
I don't know. That pop was otherworldly.
Oh
man.
no, it was. No, I know. But I think right now it's good that we have two kind of dueling baby faces on the company.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
We just move that forward for a little bit. Plus, what are the chances Roman doesn't entirely stay on SmackDown? What if he moves over to Raw? What if,
He will for a Netflix, I think. I think that's the move. You're going to put everybody on Raw for Netflix. All the big guys.
Exactly. All the big guys
are going to be Cody,
Roman,
Netflix. Seth, Judgment Day.
Everyone.
I don't know. Damian might move to SmackDown, but who knows?
Yeah, but, I think having two major baby faces right now and Cody and Roman is going to be really interesting moving forward. It's going to be great for merch sales, obviously.
Yes.
But it'll help. I think it'll be a big part of helping the WWE gauge what's going on. Also, it's going to be good for SmackDown ratings because they've been kind of not, great until Roman came back. But now that Roman's back and Cody's there and, things are starting to ramp up, and eventually those two are going to meet again. Right? So once those paths cross, then we get something interesting. But it'll take a little bit of time. We got to get through this whole bloodline thing.
Yes.
Is there anything else we got to talk about? Because I have a Yusuf question for the week.
Best in wrestling. That's really it.
Okay.
I think other than that, for me, I'll knock it out real quick. I'll go Wesley. That heel turn was crazy. That heel turn was nuts.
For me, I think it's got to be the Wyatts. Just that
was going to be mine, but that was going to be mine. But
was just
man, but Wesley's heel turn was that's an all-timer for me. I'm going to remember that forever.
It's an all-timer because you didn't see it coming. It's sort of hinted at, but in the way that it happened.
Right.
But yeah. All right. So here's my Yusuf question for the week. This is something that stemmed from a recent Going in Raw video from Steven Larson that they did.
The big question.
Love those guys.
Gimmick infringement.
Technically, no.
I know.
What is your since we're getting into a time where factions are splitting up and everything like that and kind of retooling, whatever it might be. What is your favorite faction breakup of all time?
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's hard to say faction breakup because I feel like a lot of times it's most times it's someone breaks off and then the faction just kind of fizzles out, right? So it's hard to kind of.
Well, I mean that's what I mean. I guess not breakup, but like faction betrayal, if you will.
Oh, easy. I think it has to be Seth Rollins and turning on the.
It has to be the Shield, right?
Yeah, because look at the dominoes that have fallen since then, right? We're still feeling the effects of that even now. 2024 cost Roman Reigns the championship he held on to for 4 years. The main event of
WrestleMania.
Yeah, man, and the biggest and best WrestleMania main event in history. Period. I don't care. I'll fight you on it. It's true. Yeah, man. For me, that's it. Was that your answer?
I think for me, the Shield will always be up there.
Okay.
I think the Shield will always be up there. And like when you look at the historical aspect of it, yeah, it should be number 1.
Yeah.
For me, I think a close, maybe tied for first, if not a close second, is the breakup of Evolution.
I was literally about to say, if you didn't say it, that was my second choice.
The breakup of Evolution, because if you like not counting the Randy split, but nothing. Dave Bautista will always be ingrained in my mind for that moment. He's got the contract in his hand. He's looking at Triple H with the world title, and Triple H is like, Dave's gonna win the WWE title. We're gonna be powerful forever. We're gonna rule the world. And Dave gives him the old thumbs up, and then just and the look in Triple H's eyes of like, uh-oh. That's always been a big one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Honorable mention, because this is very much a Japan one. But when you want to talk about like the way the dominoes fell after something like this happened, when Jay White took over the Bullet Club.
Oh,
when they kicked Kenny Omega and the Elite out, when Jay White was like, I don't want you fuckers here anymore. Like, get out.
Wild.
The dominoes that literally created an entire company.
Yeah, man.
That shit was crazy. Bullet Club breakup. Yeah. And it's insane because, like, the Bullet Club breakups, I don't want to hijack the last chunk of this episode to talk about Bullet Club, but since we kind of mentioned it with Judgment Day and Finn, because Finn's actually a big part of this.
Mm-hmm.
When the Bullet Club goes through a split of, like, they're getting rid of their former leader and bringing in a new era of the faction, that leader goes on to do something bigger. Finn gets kicked out, goes to NXT, becomes NXT champion. He's like the biggest, hottest thing in the company for like time until that injury at SummerSlam 2016, right?
Right.
AJ Styles took over as, leader of the Bullet Club, even though he keeps saying he was never actually leader of the Bullet Club. He was. He gets kicked out. What does he end up doing? He ends up going to WWE, has his big debut at the Rumble, and then ends up winning the WWE title just a few months later, right? And then them kicking out Kenny Omega, and by proxy, Hangman Page and the Elite was, like it. They were gonna leave already, but the way they did it was like, okay, yeah, you're gone.
Right.
Get the fuck out of our company. We don't want you. Like, we know you guys don't care about Bullet Club. You just care about the Elite.
I'm trying to think too. Undisputed Era also had a pretty decent breakup stuff happen too, right?
The Undisputed Era breakup was fine.
How did we get to Cole and O'Reilly, right? Wasn't that a breakup?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think so. Well, wasn't there like tensions between the two, and then like something happened? Yeah. There was the Undisputed Era. I truly believe should never have broken up. Nah, I fully believe that. But like, yeah,
they still should be teaming in TNA and AEW right now.
Yeah, imagine. But
excuse me.
No.
I don't hate AEW or TNA, just to be clear.
And even to that point, I don't think they've done this video yet, but they are going to be doing a video on the worst breakups.
Yeah.
For factions, and I got to put like Aces and 8 up there.
Oh, Aces and 8. Oh, man.
Aces and 8 has to be up there for worst.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about
bad.
Dog shit bad? Like,
that was pretty bad.
That's up there. Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
I mean, like, what WWE...
Immortal, too. Immortal was really bad.
Oh, yeah. Immortal. Ugh.
Immortal was just Hulk.
God. That was so stupid.
God damn it.
Man, that was not a good time for TNA.
I hate that my brain made room for that.
I'm amazed. Like, the only TNA things my brain ever makes room for is like the Main Event Mafia, but like the original Main Event Mafia.
Totally fair.
Yeah,
Totally fair.
Because like we don't talk about the second iteration of Main Event Mafia that was just like, yeah,
No, we
it was
don't
their it was their excuse to try and get Rampage Jackson over, and that didn't work.
God damn it.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of like what WWE faction breakups were just like not good. I mean, like Retribution.
Legacy was
Does that
kind of
count?
meh.
Legacy was so interesting because if you ever have you listened to Cody's recent interview he did with Chris Van Vliet?
I did. Yeah.
It's a great interview, and the way Cody is so honest about how when he was in WWE when he was younger, they were so hell bent on Ted DiBiase Jr. being the guy.
They so were. They put him in the elimination chambers and stuff with Randy and stuff.
Yeah, like they were so hell bent on Ted DiBiase Jr. being the guy when Legacy was the thing, and they're like, no, Ted DiBiase Jr. is a future world champion, and they're like, okay, and that, like, they split up the Legacy, and then they went on their own, and Ted DiBiase Jr. got like nothing out of it. Shocker.
Absolutely nothing out of it.
Yeah, but yeah. But yeah, as far as like best faction breakups, I just wanted to bring this up because, you know, with everything happening in like Judgment Day, Bloodline, these new factions that are coming up, and like the Wyatts and American Made and MSK splitting up, essentially, like it was a good thing to ask. And I think for the most part, like, especially those that have watched wrestling since like 2011, 2012, I think the Shield is the obvious answer. Yep. Especially when you just look long term.
It's also like we haven't, especially in WWE, factions aren't the norm, or they haven't been, right? Like we before Triple H, there really weren't that many factions.
No.
And by the end of Vince's run, the factions were mostly just gaggles of jobbers.
Yeah.
Like 3MB and the B team,
and other random
stuff like that, right? Like it was rare. Like the last good faction that they had in the Vince era was the Wyatts, in my opinion, and the Shield was obviously as well. But I think the Shield was already established before that, so that was the last. Those were the two last great factions. New Day was before that as well, and that's obviously there. But you know, like there's not many options. Like there aren't many options for factions in the Vince era. Now Triple H is like, we got Legato, we got LWO, we got Judgment Day, we got the Bloodline, we have Sonya Deville's squad, we have Damage Control, we have like so many good factions right now, man. And we're in American Made and American Alpha or Alpha Academy, I mean, and Wyatt's, and bro, like we are cooking, and we have Gallus in NXT, and we have like good ass stuff going. We had the Rascals rip,
but yeah, we're getting to a point where it's starting to feel like old New Japan, where there were a lot of major factions and everyone was doing something, which is good because then everyone's doing something and no one's just chilling and catering.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to bring that up with factions because, like, Evolution's always good. Evolution, man, I don't want to think about like the older iteration of Evolution when they came back to then take on the Shield.
Yeah,
because then it was just the old geezers being like, meh. And then they lost, and then the Shield broke up.
That was fair, right? They were putting over the Shield.
Yeah, and then the Shield broke up, which is insane to think about.
Yep.
But it's just like, you know, people talk about like when the Mega Powers, you know, imploded way back in the day, Savage and Hogan, right? All these things. It's like, we talk about those as historic because they were historic. They didn't, but the long-term effects of those breakups were only like maybe a couple years, maybe like 3 years, like whatever, right? Like it set up a couple Mania main events for Hogan and Savage, things like that, SummerSlam main events, what have you. I don't know if we're ever going to see another faction breakup like the Shield.
I don't know if we will either, and I don't know if we need one, you know?
Yeah. Like 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years since that breakup happened. We are still feeling it to the point where when that music hit at Mania 40 Night 2, the place went crazy.
Well, I think part of it was like a lot of us were like, did WWE get Moxley and just like not tell us?
I think that was also part of it. That was a big part of it. It was like I remember when it happened. I was at Smash Wrestling's watch party, but the Shield music hit, and all of us were like, "Is Jon Moxley about to come out?"
Right, because low-key, I was like, I could see it at least as just a one-off, right? And
Yeah.
that if
Well,
they got
so
anybody as a one-time appearance from AEW, it would have been Jon
would have
Moxley.
been
It
Jon
would have been
Moxley.
that moment, right?
Yeah. Because, like, at some point, I think on the broadcast, they were panning to, like, a section of the crowd. And I was like, it's not Seth. Did they get Jon?
I think they botched that, or they did it on purpose.
I think they did it on purpose.
To make
I think
it
it was a
look
red
like
herring.
Seth came in out of nowhere and then...
Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting time now in the company with factions, and I think that's kind of been the whole premise of this episode of the podcast, which is kind of funny. Because, like, really, it's like most major points we've talked about today have had something to do with a faction.
Yep.
You know, so it's interesting to see looking forward. But
Absolutely.
yeah. All right, how do you want to end this? We've done best in wrestling. We just need an ender, and we're done.
Yeah, man. This is the end.
This is the end.
I
Oh my
think that
God,
was
we're done.
I think that was the perfect way to end it. You know,
That
just
was.
to ask how we end it. You know,
Yeah,
so meta.
I know, right?
Y'all,
Look at us.
Thanks so much for watching this week or listening, depending on where you got us from. You can find us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, not iTunes anymore. Rip. On Spotify, most importantly. Also, give us a 5-star review on Apple, please. That'd be awesome. Like us and follow us on Spotify. Make sure we get those numbers up. Podcast is just as important as the short form content stuff. Speaking of the short form content, you can go follow us on TikTok at Vacant Wrestling. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Vacant Wrestling, on YouTube. Pretty simple. YouTube.com/ at Vacant Wrestling. Same with TikTok. TikTok.com/ at Vacant Wrestling. Gonna be doing some more reaction stuff. Might do some YouTube videos. You got the gears turning on this Edge potential here. I might have to do a booking video, or you're welcome to join if you'd like.
Yeah, we might have to do a what if.
We may. But other than that, y'all, thank you so much for watching this week. We hope you enjoyed this week of wrestling as well, and this week in your life outside of wrestling, because there's more to life than wrestling, despite the amount of time I may spend on wrestling now. But y'all, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week. See ya. Yee!
Yeet.